I watched a video this week that I could not get out of my head. Someone walked through Disney Springs in Orlando and started asking random people on vacation one simple question. How much debt do you have? That is it. And what came out of those conversations is the most unfiltered look at where this country actually stands financially that I have seen in a long time. One woman, $1,200 a month car payment. One guy who signed a loan at the dealership while he was high and genuinely does not know what interest rate he agreed to. A 22-year-old with $38,000 in student debt who figures he will have it paid off by the time he is 37. And a woman sitting on $180,000 in total debt who is still in school specifically because that is the only way to keep the payments paused. What struck me most was not the numbers. It was the faces. Nobody looked panicked. Nobody seemed particularly worried. This is just life for them. This is Tuesday. And that tells you more about where America is right now than any Federal Reserve report ever could. Total American consumer debt is sitting above $17.7 trillion. Credit cards alone just crossed $1.21 trillion for the first time in history. Auto loan delinquencies are climbing at a pace we have not seen since 2008. We are going to walk through every conversation from that video and talk about what it actually means. This is Atlas News Report. Let us get into it. The first person he stopped was a young woman. She is carrying $100,000 in student loans. Private loans, not federal, because she did not qualify for aid. That distinction matters because private student loans carry higher rates and far fewer protections than federal ones. She is picking up extra shifts. She is trying to save. But when he asked what the actual plan looks like to get this paid off, she could not give him a number or a date. Just keep working. That is not a plan. That is treading water and calling it swimming. Next to her was her companion, a 22-year-old in graduate school with about $35,000 to $38,000 in student loans and a small credit card balance on top. He was asked how long it would take to pay everything off. He thought about it, said maybe 15 years. He will be 37, and the word he used was assuming. Assuming he gets it paid off. One word. That one word is doing a lot of work. Run the numbers on that. $38,000 at a blended rate around 6%, minimum payments, 15 years. He ends up paying back somewhere around $60,000 or more by the time it is done. He will spend his entire 20s and most of his 30s paying for an education that was supposed to set him free. That is the deal a lot of young Americans are living inside right now, and most of them signed up for it at 18 without fully understanding what they were agreeing to. The next guy walked up and described his situation as pretty minimal. Credit cards and a vehicle, around $60,000 total. The interviewer did not let that slide. $60,000 is not minimal, and the guy kind of agreed. Said it could be worse, his buddy has a bigger truck. That is the new American benchmark for financial health. Could be worse. Not doing well. Not have a plan. Just, at least I am not him. His car loan alone was $53,000 on a 2024 Toyota Tundra. That truck is not transportation. That truck is his retirement account, except it loses value every single day and costs him money the whole time. Then the woman next to him said her total was $75,000 credit cards, student loans, and a car. Her monthly payment on the car alone is $1,200. Why? Because she rolled over negative equity from her last vehicle into this one. She is driving a 2025 Honda Pilot and paying for two cars while only sitting in one of them. Negative equity is one of the cleanest traps in the American consumer system. You owe more on your car than it is worth. The smart move is to stay in it until the loan is paid down. But the dealership offers you something new, rolls the gap into the fresh loan, and suddenly you have a bigger payment, a longer term, and less equity than when you started. If she earns near the median household income of around $80,000 a year, that $1,200 payment is eating roughly 18% of her gross income before a single tax is taken out, before rent, before food, before everything. The third conversation was with someone carrying over $180,000 in total debt. Student loans make up the biggest chunk, and those loans are currently in deferment because she is still enrolled in school. She is not there because she loves the classroom. She is there because the moment she leaves, the payments start. She is buying time, and the interest is running the entire time she buys it. This is the educational debt spiral in real life. You borrow for a bachelor degree. The payments are unmanageable, so you go back for a master degree and defer. You graduate with more debt than before, still cannot afford it. So you consider a doctorate. The system makes continuing to borrow feel more rational than stopping and facing what you already owe. Every semester that passes the balance grows quietly in the background. Graduate school enrollment in the U.S. has been rising for years. Researchers have pointed out that a real portion of that growth is not about career advancement. It is about debt avoidance. When making a student loan payment hurts more than adding to the total balance, the incentives of the loan system itself are pushing people deeper into the hole. When she finally leaves school and the deferment ends, she could be facing a monthly payment of $1,500 to $2,000 or more. At the start of her career, when income is at its lowest, that is what the next chapter looks like. At this point in the video, a couple from Wales shows up, and the contrast is immediate. She says she has no debt. He agrees, then quietly admits to about £21,000 in student debt. But the comparison to what we just heard is not really fair, because in the UK, student loan repayment is income contingent. You only pay when you earn above a set threshold. And after 30 years, whatever is left gets wiped. The debt does not chase you forever. He said something that stuck with me. In Wales, carrying consumer debt is a little unusual. You do not tend to see it as much. Credit cards are not the default way people move through daily life. Debt is not treated as a normal part of being an adult. In America it is, and that is not an accident. It is the result of decades of financial product marketing and cultural conditioning that has made debt feel like oxygen. A car payment is normal. Credit card interest is just the cost of living. Student loans are an investment. None of those things are facts. They are stories that benefit the people collecting the interest at the expense of everyone paying it. The Welsh couple were not more disciplined or more intelligent than the Americans in this video. They grew up inside a different set of defaults. That is the whole difference. Then something different happens. A couple walks up who have been married 10 years and just took their first real family vacation. 8 days at Disney. Character meals every day. Lightning Lane the whole trip. Hotel on property. Around $8,000 total. Paid every dollar in cash. No card. No financing. No payment plan quietly waiting for them when they land. They saved for 2 years. Waited until their daughter was 8 years old, and then they went. One debt. A mortgage at 3.5% they pay ahead on when they can. That is the whole list. The wife said it simply. When you pay cash, there is no stress. You are just there. You are not running numbers in your head the whole time wondering how you are going to cover it when you get home. That should be unremarkable. It should be the standard. But this couple stood out in that video like they were from a different era. In 2026 America, saving for 2 years to pay cash for a vacation makes you unusual. The people around them with 5- and 6-figure debt and no real plan are the ones who fit in. The parents who taught them about money when they were young gave them something that does not show up on any balance sheet. That is the inheritance that actually matters. The next couple paid half the trip in cash. The other half went on a Disney co-branded Chase card that comes with 6 months of zero interest financing. The plan is to pay it off before the rate kicks in. Workable in theory. But when he asked if they were confident they would actually pull it off, the answer was yes, if we can do that for sure. That if is the whole problem. Because if something gets in the way and that balance is still sitting there when the promotional period ends, the rate does not just start from that point. It snaps back to around 29% applied retroactively from day one. On top of that, one of them has $9,000 left in student loans for a degree they never finished. Almost $10,000 in debt for a college education that did not end in a diploma. The loan does not care. The other has $5,000 on a separate card through a balance transfer, also sitting in a zero-interest window that expires. 2 promotional clocks running simultaneously. Total debt, between them roughly $14,000 they think it will take 6 years to pay off. 6 years for $14,000, that math only holds if neither window expires before the balance is cleared. One unexpected expense, and the whole thing falls apart. They are not in collapse territory yet, but the margin is thin. The last conversation might be the one that stays with you longest. A young man from Puerto Rico. He says up front he has no debt. Paid cash for the trip. Been saving. He is proud. Then the follow-up. How did you pay for your car? Monthly payments. The interviewer points out that is debt. The guy laughs and admits it. About $20,000 left on the loan. Put $3,000 down. Then he is asked what his interest rate is. He does not know. The reason he does not know is that on the day he went to the dealership and signed everything, he was high. He walked into a significant financial commitment while impaired, signed documents he did not fully read, and agreed to a rate he cannot remember. His girlfriend handles the paperwork. She carries no debt, paid off her own car early, and was not happy when he came home with this loan. But it was done. His payment is $512 a month. He does not know the term. If we assume 72 months at around 11%, which is close to the current national average for used car financing, he ends up paying back nearly $27,000 on a vehicle he financed for $17,000. He agreed to $10,000 in interest, and he has no idea. This is not really about one guy making a bad call. This is about a finance office specifically designed to move fast, normalize big numbers, and get a signature before second thoughts show up. Most people in that chair are sober. Most of them still walk out without fully understanding what they just signed. The speed is the point. So what does one afternoon at Disney Springs actually tell us? The people in that video were not outliers. They were a pretty accurate cross-section of working America in 2026. Young people underwater on student debt with no real timeline. Families handing $1,200 a month to a car lender. Couples managing 2 expiring zero-interest windows and hoping nothing goes wrong. A guy who does not know the terms of his own loan. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York has been tracking this in real time. Delinquency rates on both auto loans and credit cards are rising. The share of credit card balances 90 or more days past due is back to where it was after the 2008 crash. Student loan delinquencies started climbing again in late 2025 once the pandemic-era collections pause finally ended. The pressure that got delayed for years is arriving all at once on people who were never given the tools to absorb it. The guy from Wales said it simply. In Wales, debt is a bit unusual. You do not see it as much. In America, we have built the entire economy around the opposite assumption. Buy now, pay later, roll it over, refinance. Figure it out when the bill comes. The bill is coming, not just for the people in that video, but for a system that has been running on borrowed money and borrowed time for a very long time. When the engine of the economy is handing $1,200 a month to a car lender before rent gets paid, something has gone seriously wrong. Extra shifts and deferred loans and balance transfers are not going to fix it. Before you go, let me just leave you with the numbers. No commentary, just what America looks like right now. $17.7 trillion in total consumer debt, $1.21 trillion on credit cards alone, a record that has never been hit until now. The average American household carries over $100,000 in non-mortgage debt. 43 million people owe money on a student loan. Nearly 1 in 5 auto loan borrowers is currently behind on payments. Close to half of all Americans say they could not cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing. And credit card delinquencies are back at 2008 levels. That is not a country on the edge. That is a country that already went over it and is still looking down. The people at Disney Springs were not anomalies. They were a snapshot. And that snapshot looks like the whole country. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe to Atlas News Report for daily coverage of what is actually happening to the American economy right now, because most people are not paying attention until it is too late. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment telling us where you are at financially. You might be surprised how many people watching this are in the exact same position as the people in that video. We read every single one. Stay aware. Stay prepared. We will see you tomorrow.